Hola, 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 mis amores, ¿cómo están? ¿Cómo están haciendo hoy? ¿Cómo le está yendo su semana y este día? How are you? How are you doing? How's your day going? How's your week going? Welcome to the IPGG squad, Independent Pretty Girly Group. I am so happy that you're here. So thankful. The channel continues to grow. Really happy and thankful for that as well, and your presence as well. So welcome. If you haven't hit the subscribe button, go ahead and hit the subscribe button and join the group, join the squad. If you haven't hit the like button, go ahead and hit the like button. I've been told that that helps. Helps the channel, helps the video, and thank you for your help when it comes to that as well. So today I am here with another video. You know me and my hot drinks, gotta have it, right? So today, full of vitamins. It's Spark. It's more of like an orangey flavor, strawberry orangey flavor. So good. So every morning, or a lot of mornings, I start out with a hot drink. So get your your vitamins, ladies. Males, I don't care what you do. I don't even know why you're here. So anyways, today I want to talk about a topic that I've been seeing come up a lot lately on YouTube, especially when I read through the comments section. And I know that this topic has been around forever. I know this has been a big topic, especially in recent years, where mental health has been more and more of a subject of focus for us, especially with the COVID, right? So I know that this has been a high point of focus for us as a collective whole. So the topic of narcissistic parents is what I want us to talk a little bit more about today. Now, this is something that way too many people deal with. And I honestly do believe that most parents are quite narcissistic or have narcissistic tendencies. I want to be careful with that because narcissistic personality disorder, which is the actual disorder, is an actual diagnosis. It's an actual mental health diagnosis that clinicians use, and that is also in the DSM. So there's a difference, right? You have to actually go see a professional before you're diagnosed with the actual clinical diagnosis. So here, what we're really talking about, and what most people are really talking about, is, you know, people that have narcissistic tendencies. Okay, so it's really narcissistic tendencies is what most people are speaking of when they refer to other people that they know in their lives who have a lot of these similar characteristics that we know to that we know to be attributed to narcissists, right? So the topic of narcissistic parents, I think one of the biggest issues is that for a really long time, and even today, people have children for very selfish reasons, and then they try to pretend like the reasons they had children were not selfish. Like, for example, having children just so they can grow up and take care of you, that is even more selfish than having children. Sorry, that's even more selfish than choosing not to have children at all. The reason and purpose for bringing a child into this earth shouldn't be so that you can hold them hostage once they grow up. That doesn't make any sense. But the amount of people that have rationalized and done the mental gymnastics around making that an okay reason to bring a child onto this earth is astronomical. It's almost every parent. Almost every parent does this, right? That's just one example out of many. My parents, a lot of our culture is African, and so it intensifies these tendencies, and these tendencies a lot of times are infused. they're deeply infused into cultures. Okay. And that's where people get it from. That's where parents get it from. It's because it's deeply infused into the culture itself, right? So when it comes to that, what I've had to learn to do and what I've chosen to do, because the way you deal or choose to deal with your narcissistic parents, and I struggle to say narcissistic parents, it's more like parents that have a lot of narcissistic tendencies, because unless they've been officially diagnosed, you don't want to irresponsibly diagnose them yourself if you're not a professional. Okay. So the way I've chosen to deal with that issue is I've chosen to combine aspects from psychology, as from what I know from psychology, as well as sociology, and that has helped me navigate these waters as an adult when dealing with my parents when they exhibit these narcissistic tendencies, okay, and behaviors. And so I'm really able to do that primarily because of the fact that I'm in the field of psychology. I am a PhD in psychology. I am a licensed mental health professional as well. And I'm also a licensed marriage and family professional. So I have a lot of tools already. And so what I've been able to do is I've been able to create an environment where I don't have to choose necessarily. I don't have to completely cut them off, but I also don't really have to put up with BS that I don't want to put up with. And a lot of that is also my personality type. So I can have a pretty strong, intense personality type. And I think really it's probably a coping skill when I feel injustice, when I feel like something is unjust. I cannot be in that environment for an extended period of time. So I tend to exit that environment completely, not partially, but completely. I will, peace out. So a lot of it is because of my personality as well. But that's how I've chosen to deal with it. Now, the way that I've chosen to deal with it is a lot of work. It's a lot of work. Y'all, when I say it's a lot of work, it's a lot of work, because you have to put up with a certain level of the tendency. And sometimes I still lose my crap. Like I'll yell and get really upset because of how irritated, I get when they demonstrate some of these tendencies. And that still happens, but it just doesn't happen as often at all compared to when I was a teenager or when I was younger. So now, for example, I will have to play into their ego if I want them to do what I want them to do. Right? So a lot of people aren't willing to do that, though. So it's up to you to choose what you're willing to do and what you're wanting to do based on your goals, based on what you want, based on if it's worth it to you, okay, for you to do that. But, that's an example, is to get them to follow my boundaries. I really have to, a lot of times, play into their ego, right? So for example, I might say something like, you know, there was like, we do party, they do parties and things like that, right? And they might want it done in a specific way where they're throwing a party and we all have to now start spending money on clothes and, you know, because they want a specific theme for the party or whatever. Um, and I might have to say something like, I feel like you really deserve this party, and this is such an important thing for you. And I agree with it being so important because you've accomplished so much, but I cannot drive an hour to pick up clothing and do fittings because I have work or whatever. So unless you're able to come help me with the picking up of this clothing and the sizing, I'm not going to be able to adhere to um, this specific theme that you're wanting for your party. And that's just like a general example that actually something similar has happened, which is why I chose that example, right? Um, so I have to continuously do things like that. And sometimes that doesn't work, and I have to be a lot stricter with the boundary by enforcing emotional distancing, meaning not speaking to them for an extended period of time. I don't like it when I have to enforce that because I'm still somewhat conditioned. And so I do still kind of think about what if something happens to them during the enforcement of this boundary period, because it takes months, y'all. So it's not something that I can do or you can do. And, you know, depending on the severity, I guess, of the issue and the situation. But a lot of times it will take, you know, a month. It could take 2 months. It could take 3, 4 months of not speaking. And so, you know, I have to kind of push back against the worry that what if something happens to them in the meantime? And I have to do it. It's something that I have to do. And that's another way that I have to go about enforcing these boundaries. So there's different ways and things that I have to do depending on the situation. And that's how I've chosen to go about it, because it's either that or you cut them off completely. It's either that or you cut them off completely, right? And I know a lot of people have chosen the route of cutting them off completely, which is also, I mean, it's fair. You kind of want to assess the situation and, you know, kind of figure out what you feel like the best path is for you. I have a fairly large family, and I do feel like they do the best they can, but perhaps I feel that way because of the profession I'm in. Um, or, you know, a lot of it is also because I I understand the impact of culture and patriarchy. And also I feel like my family has a lot of positive things that they come with as well. And so as long as I don't have to be submersed in the environment with them for too long of an extended period of time at any point in time, I can figure out a system that works for me and that I'm okay with, right? Um, so that's the choice or the direction that I've chosen, but it is a lot of work. It's way more work than just being like, you know what, I'm just not going to speak to you anymore. It is a lot of work. So I understand why people choose not to go that direction. But, you know, so when it comes to parents with narcissistic tendencies, if you haven't watched my videos on children and being child-free, I have a few videos out talking about the reasons why people give birth to children and how those reasons literally most of the time are not in the interest of the child, which is how it's supposed to be. You're not supposed to be birthing children in your own interest, right? Because you want them to take care of you when you're old, or because you want them to help you pay these bills when you get old. That's not how that's supposed to go, because these children are their own individuals, right? It's literally another soul that you're bringing into this earth, and you cannot bring them into this earth just to control them. It really doesn't make sense to me to have those sort of reasonings, so I can understand both. And I just wanted to bring up the conversation on narcissistic parents, and I'm curious as to how you go about dealing with. Do you have narcissistic parents? What do you think? How do you go about navigating those waters, especially as an adult, right? Because when it comes to the narcissistic tendencies, a lot of times it's a need for power. It's a power play. It's a need for power and control over another person. And it makes the situation even more difficult depending on the culture and the environment. However, it's a subject that does have multiple potential avenues. And so people, depending on what was done to them, have the right to choose how they want to deal with this situation. A lot of people have tried to communicate their boundaries to their parents and things like that. The problem is with people that have severe narcissistic tendencies, you can communicate your boundaries all day long. It's not going to get you anywhere. You just saying this is my boundary, they don't care. A lot of them will even tell you that they care to your face, and their actions will go a completely different direction. So, especially when you have parents that weren't there for you. So I also view my situation, now I do anyway, because more and more people are able to speak on it and realize that they're not alone when it comes to this subject matter. And what I realize also is there's so many people that have it worse. And so I try not to complain. And I try to be grateful while still doing the best that I can without putting myself in an environment that I don't want to be in, especially not for an extended period of time. And the reason I say that is because, you have people that have parents with severe narcissistic tendencies who didn't even stay to raise them, and come out of nowhere expecting the child to do this and do that and to care for some reason, or who were never there, never present, and still aren't trying to be there or present, but still expect the child to do this or do that, So in my case, growing up was really, really hard because, and a lot of times it felt isolating for me because I'm the only girl out of 4, and all of my siblings are males. But my mom never left. Okay. My dad, I used to be a major daddy's girl when I was younger. Big time daddy's girl. Oh my God. There's a story I wanted when I was younger and the CD players had just come out. There, the boombox CD players that you could put like 6 CDs in there at a time. I wanted one of those so bad. I wanted one so bad, y'all. And then my dad's like, I asked him for one and he said, "Oh, okay, yeah, I'll get you one." you asked for this book. I got you this book. It was the Harry Potter book. It was one of the Harry Potter's book. He said, you asked for this book because I love to read. When I was younger, oh my God, couldn't stop reading things because it would take my mind to this. I just loved reading. He said, you asked me for this Harry Potter book. You have yet to read this book. And now you're asking me for a boombox type of thing. So if you read the book and finish the book, I will get you the radio, the boombox. And my brother got one. My brother had gotten one. Can't remember when. I think it was like way later after this though. But so I ended up taking it from him and never even really used it, you know. So, but anyway, I never read the book, y'all. I told him, oh, that's cool. Like, I can do that. That Harry Potter book. Oh my God. That's a big book. I never even read the first page. You know, the movies came out. I watched the movies instead. Oh my God, that's such a funny story to me. So I never got the boombox, but I ended up getting it because my brother got it. He never really used it. And it was in my favorite color too. It was like this color. And I took it from him. But anyways, so I feel like, yes, I could choose to go completely no contact. And a lot of times I fight and wrestle with that option. So it's not that it's no longer an option, but I do my best. I do the best that I can in trying to stay in a gratefulness mindset, I suppose. But in these types of cases, that's a lot to put on a child and children. So I want to hear your thoughts. What do y'all think? Have you experienced this before? Did you experience it? What is your story? How did you choose to go about handling this situation? Because a lot of times it can even leave resentment because the parents, they've put you in a position where they've brought you here into this world, and now you have to make these tough calls because you're not getting the emotional care and support that you should be getting. And it's even worse when they combine it with the gaslighting. A lot of them will combine it with gaslighting, which makes you question your own reality so that they can substitute your reality with their reality. So let me know what your thoughts are. Leave it in the comments below, like the video, subscribe. Let me know where you are with this. And I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Bye.